Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the On the Map Challenge on Alma, Missouri. Today is July 2nd, and as you can see, we are still following right behind wheat harvest, doing a little bit of cleanup with baling the wheat straw, and now we're finishing up with the soybean planting. And we are still doing double crop soybeans, which we are planting right into the wheat stubble, and it's working a dream so far. As you can see, we've already done most of our fields this way, and I think this is the last one. We're just getting started here, and it is a good bit into the afternoon, so we've just been doing this all day, really. Yesterday was when we started wheat harvest, and that was in the last episode. And now this episode, we're just kind of finishing stuff up, and next month is August, and then the month after that will be basically about time to get ready for harvest season. So we're in this weird kind of period of time right now where we're past the summer chores, but we're not really ready to get into fall harvest. So we're just kind of spraying weeds, making hay, and obviously right now we're finishing up soybeans. So gotta say, not the busiest time period ever, because we've already got all that stuff out of the way. So we're just gonna do some chores and work our way up to fall harvest. Not a lot going on, but it should still be pretty exciting. And so I'm thinking, with us finishing up planting soybeans today, we're probably going to get out there either tomorrow or the 1st of August and get some of our hay cut. This will be our third cutting this year, I do believe, or maybe it's our second. Not real sure. I'm going to have to think back, but we've already cut that field of hay once. We're going to get back out there, get a second or third cutting off of it, and then we're going to put the hay up, break out the sprayer, probably put some herbicide out. So maybe we do actually have a good bit going on, more than I realized. So yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's cue the intro. Let's go ahead and get right into this one. Alright, well, like you heard in the intro, we're going to be starting this one out, planting the rest of our soybeans. In the last episode, we got actually a pretty good ways into wheat harvest and doing all the after stages where we were planting soybeans and all that good stuff, but we never got finished. So I'm really just picking up right where we left off, and we're going to finish today, specifically in the next couple of hours, because we are running out of daylight. And yeah, this right here is our last field. We've got 3 fields of soybeans now, 2 that were planted as double crop and 1 that was cultivated. It was, I believe it was corn last year, and we just plowed the field up and put soybeans on it, doing the usual crop rotation. But as for this field and the one down the dirt road, first time doing double cropping soybeans. So yeah, this is totally new to me. We're gonna see how it's gonna work out. I kind of like the fact that we've got some fields that are, planted after wheat, and there's a field that has not been planted after wheat, so we can kind of compare how the yield is going to do, if it even changes. I'm not sure it will, but it's going to be cool to see either way. But a lot has changed just on the map, around the farm, all that good stuff since I uploaded that last video. Which was about a week ago now is when I started recording that video. And after I got it edited and uploaded, I took some time to update Alma, Missouri, and convert everything over to, the same save game. I just updated the map and reapplied all the textures and everything, and I have done a good bit. So I'll just discuss that, because it's the biggest thing that's changed. And so like I said, I did just update the map flat out. So alfalfa is now a crop in here. I'll show you in just a second whenever we get to the end of this little row right here. I'll open the map and you guys can see. But as far as super crazy changes go, not a whole lot. I just noticed these couple. So first things first, alfalfa down here at the bottom. No fields are alfalfa yet, but it is an option in here now. And then that's not all. We have a few more changes. The biggest one for me is this one down here. A lot of these fields did change, but this one, or the numbers of these fields changed, but this field was connected as one, so 37 and 38. This was one big field before the update. Now there's this one right here, which is a little bit smaller, and then there's this, obviously it's pretty dang big. And so we're going to be more than likely picking this field up at the end of this year or next year, summer, or next year, just soon. I really want this field, and it's cheap. The yield potential is good, so yeah, I'm really happy we did that, and that was honestly one of the main reasons I updated the map, was to have a smaller field down here I can pick up. So apart from that, just a few quality of life changes, like you can actually buy the roads and everything now. That's what this farmland's here for. And I guess that's about it as far as like stuff to the map that changed. Some of these fields are numbered differently, so this was like field 7 before, now it's field 5 or something like that. So I think it's actually how it was in Farming Simulator 22 now. I could be wrong, but it looks pretty accurate. So yeah, I'm really excited to have alfalfa in here, and the second field, now that it's like split into 2 different farmlands, that's pretty awesome. I don't know how much we'll like play around with alfalfa, but I would for sure like to, plant it at least once and try it out just to give it a run for its money, because I don't think I've ever really played with alfalfa in Farming Simulator 25. Well, I take that back, because on the Ray County Dairy series we did chop alfalfa. So I've heard that in this version it's like a little different. It actually bales as dry alfalfa, so it's not just a second type of hay that you can cut. It actually produces alfalfa bales, unlike the older version of alfalfa that was in Farm Sim 25, where you just cut it and it just puts grass on the ground and it just turns into hay. Nothing really special about that, so that's pretty awesome. Then a couple quality of life changes. If you cannot tell in the field, the wheat stubble texture has changed a little bit. I had to obviously redo all my custom textures into this map since the map was like reset or whatever. So I tweaked the wheat texture a little bit. You can tell that the like ran over stubble texture is still the same shortened length it was, but the cut texture, I'm trying to find a good angle of it. You can see it right there by the tires. It's a little bit shorter, and the only reason I did that was whenever we bale the wheat straw, it was kind of hard to see all the straw buried under the stubble, and so having it a little shorter will make it easier just to see the straw. That was the only reason I did it like that. And also, it's kind of hard to tell by looking at the stubble, but the wheat is now it follows the plant lines. So whenever we drill wheat, the wheat won't be randomly broadcasted everywhere. Like I've talked about in so many of my episodes, I was not a fan of the base game wheat texture, but I figured out a way to edit the XML or something. I'm not even really sure what I did. I took a texture out of a map and changed it around, and it's honestly pretty simple to do. And just like that, we have wheat that is in lines. So whenever I drill wheat in the fall, it'll be in drill lines. It'll follow the drill lines at 15 inches. So that's, gotta say, that's pretty awesome. Oh, and a small quality of life change. We bought some weights for the front of this tractor. It's almost got a full rack now, so I think it looks a lot more beefy with a full set of weights. There was only like 400 pounds on here before, now there's almost 800, so we have doubled the weight stack on the front of the tractor. But everything else is just the way it was before the update. I didn't lose any of my vehicles. I didn't have to rebuild the farm. I didn't have to rebuy anything. All the hours are the same. Maintenance is the same. Finances are the same. Everything. So I don't know how I pulled that one off, but I told you guys I would. And actually, check it out. You can see the wheat right there that never grew from last season, that glitch or whatever. It is in lines. So there's first look at it right there. And I was also experimenting with a train texture. I was going to have a longer train in here, and it was going to be like American. It was like a Kansas or Pacific line, something like that. I can't remember. But you can see there's the train right there. I had to revert it back because I did something wrong, and it was kind of glitching out. So I changed it back for now. I'm going to try again and see if I can fix it to the custom train. I'm not real sure what I did wrong, but it was like not showing up all the cars, and there was like floating wheels and stuff, so I'm going to have to go back in there and change that around. But for right now, what we've got is a whole lot better. And then there's some stuff up at the farm that I will show off in just a second. We did a couple things. I don't even really want to hint anything off. It has nothing to do with the map update though, so don't worry. Everything's still the same. We just cleaned up a little bit at the farm. I'll leave you with that, and I won't spoil anything else. But yeah, I would say That was a pretty successful update. It went really smooth. Didn't think it would do that like it did. I thought it would break my save game or something, so I was getting really worried I might have to restart Alma or something, but we pulled through. But now I guess we'll switch topics and go from a little less map updating stuff to more farming stuff. I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way and tell you guys what we did first before I get too far in the video and somebody misses it or something. Just get it out of the way. We got the map update all secure, and yeah, that's all for that. As of right now, we'll get this field knocked out. We really don't have much to go at all. I've probably said this a couple times already, but ever since we upgraded our planter, I really didn't realize how fast we can get planting done with this 12 row. It's only 4 rows difference from the 8 row we had, but man, does it seem a whole lot bigger. And I think I've mentioned this too. I believe the planter we've got now is true 30-inch spacing. The Kinsey we used to have, I don't think it was scaled properly. It could have been like 22-inch or something like that, but this one just feels so much bigger. We can really knock out some acres with this planter. I mean, you can see how far we've gone. I've only been out here since about 3:40, so I've been out here for an hour and I've already knocked this much of the field out. So yeah, it's pretty crazy if you ask me. But I will tell you guys something. Planting soybeans with this planter really does run through a bunch of seeds. Corn a good bit, but nothing like planting a bunch of soybeans. We filled this planter up all the way to the top whenever we drove out here, or before we drove out here, and it's already at about 35%. So yeah, it sure is a good thing that we've got a bunch of extra sitting at the shop on the seed rack, or we'd be in a pretty dire situation, because we don't have tons of money to be spending on seed with how expensive it is and how fast we go through all the seed we have. And actually, yeah, speaking of that, this is our last field that we're going to be planting in year 3, which sounds crazy since we're planting so late, but we have a reason to be out here planting this late. Usually we were able to get all of it done about May, sometimes early June, but usually we knock all our planting out in like a month. But this year's a little bit different, and well, yeah, I mean, something like that, we'll do it. And we are all done with that field and planting in general. Year 3, we're all finished. This is the checkpoint here, or I guess I should say the checkered flag. This is the finish line right here. So we'll send this on down the line to the farm. We're going to have to clean all the row units out, get the extra spare seed out of here. We're going to have to winterize it, clean it, all that good stuff. So, oh man, not looking forward to that. I'd really like it if Todd or Dalton's available to do that right now while I go and do something else. Oh, and also real quick, something else from the update. I put a lot of the trees back that I cleared. So you'll notice, like this right here, for example, there's a bigger opening to that field. We cut a tree down for that shortcut between these two fields right here, and also behind me there's a tree missing right here, just kind of opening that whole area up. I did in fact do a little bit of work trying to clean everything up, make it look a little neater. Even around the pond right here, you might be able to tell there's a few trees like where they're not supposed to be. Like I said, the only reason for that is the map update and me coming in and trying to fill all those empty spaces back in. But like I said, everything else is exactly how it was. You can see the farm is no different whatsoever. Alright, and I will leave this guy right here. Just cut it off for now. Let's go take a look at what we've done to the farm. You might have seen it when we were rolling up, but I doubt it. And it has to do with this down here. We have cut all of these trees down between the hay shed and the finishing barn, and with the power of video editing, the stump is gone too and everything. Just a matter of time, we got it done in like a day. There are about 4 trees or so here, and we have brought these straw bales up from that field we were just planting in. So we got out there, baled all that straw yesterday afternoon. Actually, in the last episode, we baled that straw, and then yesterday afternoon we picked it up. So we had Todd down here on the skid steer. He was unloading off the wagon. I was loading out of the field with the Ford tractor, and then Dalton had the Magnum on the wagon, and he was carting straw bales out of the field. So we had a little assembly line going, and now we've got a decent pile of straw bales here. We'll obviously use this in the wintertime for bedding for the cows over here. And then last but not least, we finished out the gravel pathways. There's a little gravel pathway between the hay shed and the finishing barn that lead to the door right here. And then up the hill is a little dirt path just to kind of connect it all together. We ran out of gravel, so we had to just kind of dig it up, use the tires to make ruts in through here. So it's all connected now with one path, if you want to call it that. I guess there's a way to get in and out of all this area in here. So yeah, I think it looks pretty dang good now that we got it all done. I like that we have a spot for straw bales, and we even moved the skid steer implements over here, so we've got more room for stuff. You know, I like it. I like it a lot. I think we've done a pretty good job with space management on the farm, and obviously, whenever we're not using straw bales or whatever, we can throw some implements over here out of the way. So makes it a worth the while effort, if you ask me. And I don't know if I mentioned it in the last one, but we also tidied up the implements down there by the fence over there next to the road, whatever. You can see them from here, all the wagons. I won't walk down there, but we got them all tidied up, and it looks a whole lot better, if you ask me. And how could I forget? Todd went out of his way and decided to pick up a lawnmower. So that's why we've lost a little bit more money, and why the yard looks so dang good is because he decided to cut the grass. Did not even know he did this, but walking up through here, yeah, that's where he's been all day. So he parked it in here. We just picked up a Husqvarna zero turn. I really like it. I think it's a nice piece. And so we finally have fixed the problem with all the overgrown grass in the front yard. We can actually kind of come out here, and it looks pretty decent, if you ask me. It's not an eyesore. It's not a distraction to walk out and through here. So yeah, as far as today goes, I think that's all I got. I'm not real sure what else we're going to be doing in today. I know August is probably going to be pretty busy because that's when the hay is going to be ready, and I'm assuming we're going to have to break out the sprayer for spraying herbicide, because that's usually when the weeds are going to get pretty bad. They're not super bad right now. We're just kind of keeping an eye on them. But yeah, I'm going to get to cleaning out the planter. I'm going to wait on Dalton or Todd to get to the farm. Hopefully they're going to help me clean it out, because it is a pretty big job. Totally forgot I should have unfolded the planter or whatever before I started cleaning all the row units out, because that's gonna suck. As of right now, I will catch you guys in a little bit, maybe tomorrow, maybe at the start of August. I'm not real sure, but I will catch you guys then. Alright, you guys, welcome to August 1st. We didn't really have too much of anything going on, so we just decided to skip right into August. And now, first things first, this morning, I am going to give the cow some water. Their trough is a little bit low, and I feel like it has been a little while since we've, gone out in the pasture with the Kawasaki mule to give the cows water. I usually tend to do these little chores off camera, so it'll be kind of nice to do it in the video today. But so far this morning, the only thing I have really done was stop by the store in town and pick up a barrel of herbicide. Some of our fields of soybeans, the weeds exploded. I did not realize that after just a couple days the weeds would get this bad, which I guess it turned over a new month, but a lot of the soybean fields that had been planted had small weeds that were growing, and now they're pretty large. So we're going to have to go in there and spray all of our soybean fields today. But all the corn fields look good. Not a single spot of weeds anywhere. So I'm not real sure what we did, but we did it good because they're spotless. So yeah, as soon as we get our soybean fields sprayed with herbicide, we should be good to go. And then obviously that'll be first task of the morning, and then we will get to the hay cutting, because that is coming up shortly. I think the hay is about ready to go now anyway. Just check the trough. It's at 4,000, so we'll come back probably tomorrow and top it off, or maybe we could do it right now and get it out of the way actually instead of waiting tomorrow. And actually you can see the barrel of herbicide right over there. I've already put the trailer and everything up. We just went and picked up a single barrel, which costs about $2,000 or a little over $2,000, somewhere in there. It's not cheap. It's just like fertilizer and seeds, but this will for sure help us out. No doubt about that at all. I'm just trying to figure out why the corn, all the cornfields don't have any weeds in them. That's kind of strange to me. The only thing I can really think of is because we plowed a lot of those fields, which I think that does eliminate weeds whenever you plow your fields. But the fields that are soybeans now, we never did any tillage, so weeds are prone to grow. And then the fields that we also did shallow cultivation, so we just ran the disc over, those are also going to have weeds in them. So I mean, that's my best guess. I'm not real sure. And also, I totally forgot to mention this earlier. Whenever we did cut all the grass, I came out here and tidied this whole part of the farm up over here. I'm not real sure what you'd call it. And I even added that section of the fence in back up there at the top of the hill that was missing for a while. I finished that back out, and this whole area looks really nice. It's not overgrown grass anymore, so I'd kind of consider this the backyard. a little bit, I guess. It's not exactly a backyard, but and then I also did move the cattle trailer away from the building. I'm not real sure why I did that, but it definitely makes a difference whenever you're trying to, back up a truck over there and hook it up. It's a lot more like open room, especially when you're like cleaning the trailer out. You can actually access all the doors without having to move it, because with it being right up against the building, there was a door on the right side that we could never get into. So yep, that'll do it though. That's the cows. Their water trough's topped off, which means we won't have to do it for the rest of tomorrow or today. We might have to fill it back up on the 3rd, because they do drink a good bit, and it is going to be very hot today, so they will for sure be drinking a lot of water. And another thing I decided to do, because I had a lot of free time on my hands this morning, was organize the equipment shed. Now this does look a lot neater. There's some stuff I don't like though, mainly how the tractors are, because we've got to move something out every single time we need an implement out, which I guess the biggest fix for this would be to move the 8320 over here in front of the sprayer, but we're going to be using the sprayer today. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think spraying a field with like front duals is the best bet. It might be, but I think we're just going to use the 8300. Oh, and because there's a rate monitor in there, so I can actually plug it up to the sprayer and see what's going on in the field. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of this looks the same. The only thing we really did was move the tractors to the middle, and we've got the planter over here as well as the grain drill. So this is kind of our seeding equipment over here, sprayer tractor over there, tractors in the middle, combine at the back, sprayer in the corner. And by spare tractor, I do mean the 8300, the workhorse that we're going to be using again today. I really do give the 8300 a hard time. We are constantly using this tractor on the farm, but for good reason. It's a nice piece. So we're going to fire it up and hope that we can actually get out of here without moving the 8320. Actually, there's no way we're going to do that. Alright, so let's swap tractors. Let's move this out of the way. So we'll move it out here. Don't know what else I could really do with it, to be honest with you, because if I move it in the other part of the shop, it's going to take up room where we need to get to the sprayer. So it'll do perfectly fine right here. And now we will switch over to this tractor. Hopefully, and I do seriously mean that, I'm absolutely praying that there's nothing in the sprayer, because I do not want to wash it out right now. It is so dang hot out there. I would hate to be in that sprayer cleaning it out and getting rid of all the chemical out of the hoses to swap chemical or whatever. Oh, there is some chemical in here. Oh boy. Well, that is not good at all. Since it is fertilizer, I'm more than likely just gonna drop it off right here, and we'll worry about it later. Alright, well that'll work. Just dump the extra barrel right there. Unloading the sprayer like that is a very handy feature, if I must say. And now we will start filling the herbicide, which there's only 2,000 liters here, so we're going to only have like a third of the tank filled, or well, almost half the tank filled. So that's not that bad. Hopefully we won't just absolutely burn through this, but I'm not real sure what it's going to be like. Because if you look out there, there is a good bit of weeds to spray, so we're going to have all the nozzles running and all that good stuff. So I guess we can creep on into the field. We'll get it unfolded. While that's unfolding, let's set the GPS here quickly. And I think I want the booms not too far down, but I don't want them super high up. I think right there will do good. Let's see where the GPS is going to take us. I think it's going to go over here a little bit. So I think this is going to take us around the field the opposite way. I mean, that'll do just fine, I guess. I think going around the field this way will leave a lot of turns that won't be so awkward, especially whenever we come to that bottom corner of the field. There's a lot of just like really sharp turns of the sprayer, so this should be a good bit neater, I'd say. And I mean, as you can see, it's not just absolutely burning through it, which I honestly thought it would put out a little more, but it's not like fertilizer. You don't put out as much at once, because really if you have weeds, you're only supposed to spray a single time. So, or at least I think that's the case for weeds. I know like pesticides and all that, I'm sure is a different story, but I'm pretty sure a single round of herbicide spraying will last you an entire growing season, but I'm not totally sure. Alright, there's one pass around the field. I think it would have been a pretty good idea to put the booms over those weeds at the back of the finishing barn right there, but now we can start just going up and down the field cleaning it out. And yeah, there are a good couple of weeds in through here. I can for sure see it. I'm just not real sure how they all popped up out of nowhere. I guess that little bit of rain we got the other day mixed with how hot it's been that seems like prime growing temperatures, and climate for me for a bunch of weeds, but I could be wrong. But so far our soybeans look honestly very good. Hardly any disease, if none. I've seen a few spots on some of the leaves closer to the edge of the field, but for them to already be in stage 3 this quick and look this decent, I mean, that's something for sure. I'm expecting a pretty good yield this fall, but you know, I say that every year and then it completely is the opposite, so I have no clue what to expect. I hope it's good. And this right here will be our last pass through this part of the field. We'll tidy up this bottom corner and we can head on down to the next one, which will actually be right up here to the left. We're going to the bottoms to spray the next field. I'm still not good with memorizing the field numbers, so I think it's like 30 something, 31. That sounds about right at least. We did miss a spot, you know, here and there, but for the most part I think we did pretty good. And to only use about 10% or so of the herbicide we've got in the tank, I think that's a win, which means we should hopefully use all this in the 3 fields we're going to be spraying, you know, not have to refill again. And I believe the last time we sprayed for herbicide, which I guess was just last year, it turned out like this as well. You know, we didn't have to buy a bunch of barrels of herbicide, so that is for sure a good thing. And then right here is our newest field of soybeans. We just got done planting this, it feels like, and these seriously do look good. And the reason I'm coming out here now is because there is some moderate growth in here. It's not horrible, but I want to stop it before it spreads like those other 2 fields. So something like a row cultivator, you know, might be a little more humane, but we've got the herbicide and it'll knock it out for the rest of the growing season, so we'll go ahead and put some out here because I feel like these soybeans, even though they look pretty good, I think they've got a decent ways to go for the rest of this year. Like, I'm honestly debating if we're going to harvest these in October or even November. It's going to be a far ways out, so I think December might be a little too, you know, wet and cold, but it's possible for sure because I have never planted soybeans that late in the year. So who knows when they're going to be ready to harvest, but I mean, they look good this far out, so that's a good thing. Or I guess I should really and truly say this early. They look really good this early, so I guess I owe that to the double cropping. Maybe not, but it is a very high possibility. And then this field right here is putting out even less herbicide, so we are definitely right in the money. And hey, who knows, we might actually have some left over that we can unload out of the sprayer and put in the storage and pull it back out next year and use that same herbicide to spray, which I think it might go bad by then, but it is it's likely. Alright, now we'll turn the GPS back on and get right back to it. Now we can start knocking out the rows up and down the field, and looks like it's only going to be about 3 passes and we are out of here already. Same thing I said about the planter really does apply for the sprayer here too. I mean, it knocks it out pretty quick. And when we were actually looking for a sprayer on the farm, we wanted like a 3-point hitch sprayer, just to pull right behind the tractor and then have like saddle tanks. But after finding this, there is no reason to trade down at all. This thing is nice. Alright, well, we've got this little part right here and then a tiny little spot I missed up and to the right in that little corner of the field, and we will be out of here. And yeah, like I said, just like that, we're already done. And we've got 14% to use on the next field, which should be more than enough, but we'll see how it goes, because I used about that much on this field and the next one is a little bit bigger, so hopefully we don't have to refill. I might just leave the rest of the weeds in that field if we have to buy more herbicide. So we will head on down to the next one. We are going to have to leave the farm and head down the dirt road. And actually, that reminds me, look at how big our corn has gotten already. I'm thinking in the next month or so it'll be ready to harvest already. And even the neighbor's crop right here is looking extremely tall and hardy. The crop has hit another crazy growth spurt this time of year, and it has taken off and really matured quickly. So I'm thinking we might get in there and harvest that into September, early October, because it is already starting to turn like a brownish color. So that is awesome. Or like a golden brown, that good looking harvest ready color. But it would make some seriously awesome silage corn if we were, doing any dairy farming and had a chopper out there chopping it for silage. You'll be able to see it right up here on the left. It's a pretty nice looking field of corn if you ask me, and I'm pretty sure all of them look like this, so check that out. Hardly any, or I say hardly any, I cannot see any wind damage. There's some hail damage right there where there's missing crop, but for the most part, man, it is a good crop. In terms of looks, I think it's one of our better looking corn crops since we bought the farm. So out of the 3 years we've done corn, this is probably the best looking crop. And also I totally forgot that these straw bales from this field are still down here, and the biggest reason for that, or well, I say biggest reason, the only reason they're still down here is because I don't want to bring all of them to the farm right now. We don't need them, so there's no point in just filling up all that extra space right there with a bunch of straw bales. So we're going to leave them out here just by the field. And also loading them would be kind of awkward since there's like a ditch right there and there's a bunch of growing crops. So I think my plan is to use the straw bales that we've got at the farm right now, and then as we need them, we'll come down here, I'm guessing during like late fall, early winter, and we'll load them as we need them. And then doing that as well, we'll have the soybeans cut out of here, so it'll just be stubble or like plowed up or something. Whatever we're going to have with the field, it'll be dormant is what I'm saying. It won't have crop growing in it, which will, you know, we can bring a tractor down here and turn up in the field and mess around and all that stuff. We won't have to worry about crushing any crop. So at least that's the plan. I think it's going to work. I'm not sure how well, but hopefully it will. I just don't want to burn through all that straw that we've got at the farm right now and have to keep coming down here. But so yeah, we'll just get right to work here again. And I don't know if I have ever mentioned it. There's a good chance I have, but if I haven't, I'll do it right now. You see that plot of pine trees out there in front of us? I would seriously consider buying that plot of land and having somebody come out and cut all those trees down for us and selling them. Or like we sell it to them and they cut the trees down and we get the profit, whatever, however that works. Because it's like a pine tree farm, like they've got them like planted in rows to harvest them. So that could be a serious money cheat. Well, I say cheat, but money investment, something like that, a word like that. I can't really figure it out, but that would be something really cool. And while I couldn't run the forestry machine, I could come out here and watch them work since it'd be like my land. And since it's only that little plot, it's not very expensive. So one winter, you know, we could just buy that out and then they could come out and cut the trees down. And then as the years go on, we could tend to that little plot and turn it into arable ground, or like connect this field to that little plot in through there, cut down some more trees, that sort of thing. I think it's a pretty nice investment. I mean, it's just something to think about, and I don't know if I've ever talked about it, but I have thought about it many times. And that whole area is a good like 3.5 acres, so that's not too bad. And for, I think it comes in like $40,000 or something like that. I've looked at it before. That's really not bad. Now I don't know what all that lumber would sell for since it's pine, but I think it would be worth it. And you know, with this being the On the Map challenge, we're going to have to own it at some point. So, oh man, I also did not realize that we were at 4% in the tank of the sprayer. I don't know where all that herbicide just went, but it's gone. So we'll take a look here. All the green is weeds that still need to be sprayed, and it looks like we're going to be buying another barrel of herbicide. That term is stuck in my head because of how much we bought last year. Or that was this year. Oh my goodness, that feels like it's been ages ago. Yeah, we're gonna have to spend millions of dollars on some more herbicide. We are really pushing it close with the money we've got in our bank account right now, which I guess it is kind of my fault if you think about it, but it's also kind of not. The only thing that's my fault is the spending. I cannot stop buying stuff. Let's be a little careful with the herbicide as we get close to these bales. And so right in here we're gonna run out. We're gonna have to pick up some more. Oh man, okay. Well, that's not very ideal. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do. I guess I'll call Todd. He's supposed to be at the farm now anyway. And hey, we might actually have a separate barrel at the farm. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, we got to do something about all these weeds. We can't leave them standing in the field. There's a good majority still up. So yeah, I'll just finish this field out, get the rest of it sprayed, and I'll catch up with you guys at the farm in a little while. Probably about 30 minutes or so. It really just depends on how fast Todd gets down here with that barrel of herbicide. So I guess I'll see you guys then. Alright, we got all the spraying done, and now we have switched gears and we are cutting some hay. So we're working on this little 2-acre field right here, and then as we get finished, we're going to head back to the farm, but we're not going to go park it because we actually have a tiny little, I don't even know how big it is. We own the land. There's a little grass area right up the dirt path right there. I'll bring you guys there in a second. And I would kind of like to cut it just to have a couple extra bales of hay. I don't know how great that grass right there is, but I think it'd be a little worth my while. Yeah, as we sit right now, all the fields are either de-weeded, if that's even a word. There's no weeds in any of the fields anymore. The ones that had weeds have been sprayed, and the rest of the corn crop looked pretty good. So got all those weeds taken care of. I know that was something I'd been wanting to do for a while. I was just waiting to see how bad they were going to get, because I really like to spray them when they're pretty big, which I know is not something you do, but it's a lot easier to see in the game when they're a whole lot bigger like that. It's easier to see where you've been, but you really want to get out there as early as you can and prevent them from spreading that bad. But I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. We will see come harvest time what the yield is going to be like, but as of right now, there's no more weeds in the field. So we parked the sprayer up by the shop. We just got to clean it out and winterize that as well. We've already done the planter. Now it's the sprayer's turn. We got to empty the chemical out, and we're going to clean out the hoses and the lines and all that stuff, and then it will go into the shed for winter, just like all the other equipment. Well, not everything, but just the stuff we won't need until, springtime, somewhere a couple months down the road. It has been so sunny and hot in August, and for some reason we have a chance of rain coming in a couple days. So I'd really like to try and get the hay up, because I have a feeling it's going to be a torrential downpour. Well, I don't really have a feeling. I'm pretty sure it's what they're calling for in the outlook. One of those sudden summer showers that drops like 2 inches of rain out of nowhere. That is more than likely what we're going to get. So we need to get the hay up and out of the field. Just makes me wonder, what about those straw bales sitting out there in the middle of that field? I guess it's not much different than the straw bale sitting out in the open by the barn, but either way, I don't think they're gonna rot sitting out there for too long, but we don't need to leave them out there forever. So I was gonna load them all up and bring them to the farm right now, but I was a little bit lazy, didn't want to do that, and like I said, there's not a lot of room at the farm to bring all those bales. I mean, there's like 50 bales of straw. There's a lot, and they're 5x6s. They're pretty big, so I'm just gonna use up as much space as we have, and then what we don't need at the farm, we're just gonna put somewhere where we have extra space and it's not taking up a bunch of room at the farm. So I don't know, I don't really know how fast straw rots compared to like hay bales, because it's like a totally different material, and I'd want to say that it would rot slower than like hay or something, but I don't know. That's a good question. Just we don't need to leave them sitting out there forever. Cutting this field is a whole lot easier now that I have taken out some of the trees around the edge of the field. We can actually get a little closer to the tree line. Most notably down here behind me at that field approach, man, there were so many little trees that would hit the mirrors and stuff as we were coming by. So it's nice to have a lot of just driving room where I don't have to worry about running into trees and making a really curvy, weird shaped field edge. We can keep it nice and tidy. And I think in terms of how straight these passes are and stuff, I think this is one of the best jobs I've ever done in this field, which I guess it looks the same every time, but the lines are extremely straight. Well, not right here. It's a big curve, and it's actually the letter D if you look at it from the air. No? Okay, maybe not. It does to me anyway. It's kind of hard to tell. So while we are finishing this field right here, I think I want to mention something, for the On the Map challenge. I don't know where this will go. I'm just really thinking right now, and I'd like a few, ideas maybe. So in the last On the Map challenge, as we got bigger, and I think it was in year 4 or 5, we actually decided to buy another farm. So we had 2 farms we were running. If you can remember way back, one of them was a pretty decent sized dairy farm, and the other one was kind of like the farm we're running right now, just kind of smaller, couple bins, that sort of thing. And that is also coming up on this On the Map challenge, but I don't know if I want to pull the plug on a new farm yet. I don't really want to invest in one, because we're still working with equipment, getting bigger in that aspect, as well as fields in general, because a lot of that stuff is not very cheap, as you guys know. But if we were to buy a farm in, just say, a year from now, well, that'd be year 4, so end of year 4 into year 5, that's probably the goal I'd like to set, but that may not actually happen, so I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But I could think of a few reasons right now we need a new farm. For example, we need some more bin space, because we are running out of bin space, and I would like a dryer, but there's absolutely no way we're fitting a dryer in any of the part of the farm that we've got right now. So I think the most wise choice would be buy a plot of land down the dirt road and put in a bigger bin setup with a dryer, and then maybe a bigger machine haul, or 2 bigger machine hauls, like a barn or something like that, and just have it as what I would call like a satellite farm, right? So we would store our bigger equipment there, combine, semi-trucks, wagons, planter, cultivator, that sort of thing. We'd put all that over there, keep it out of the way, and we would use this farm that we're on right now for like the haying equipment, the smaller tractors, the sprayer, fertilizer spreader, manure spreader, all that stuff, and we'd have cows down here. So we'd keep our arable crop stuff at the other farm and our haying and cowing equipment at this farm. Yeah, that makes actually a good bit of sense, don't it? Or we could transition and buy a small dairy farm. Well, I say buy a small dairy farm, but we might have to build and add on to a lot of it. But there is, in fact, an older dairy farm down the road. It's about 1.5 miles down the road from here. It's pretty run down, so we'd have to do a lot of renovating. But I mean, it's like a 200 head of cattle dairy farm. We could obviously increase that. But when we buy our new farm, right, what are we going with? Are we going with dairy, or are we sticking to the traditional satellite farm and expand from there? If you want my honest take, I think the satellite farm and just growing everything from there is the best choice. But whenever we get our hands on some milk money from dairy cattle, I think that's where a lot of the growing will come from, like a lot of just constant money. Selling our milk once a month or every week or however often they do it on Farming Simulator, I'm not sure how it is compared to real life in the game, but as often as we sell our milk, we could more than likely be a millionaire, right, depending on how we do it. And then the rest of the On the Map challenge will be like a breeze from there. It'll be a piece of cake. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of lost. I'm stuck between the two ideas. And another big factor is like content, right? Like, should I just keep doing the same thing I've been doing? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get a tiny bit bored of like the constant, planting crops, cutting hay, harvesting, cultivating, selling grain. Well, I mean, that's not boring, but it's just repetitive, right? It'd be cool to have, like, feeding dairy cows and chopping silage and all that. That was kind of my goal with the last On the Map challenge, but, it kind of got me burned out on the game because there's so much to do. So that's kind of the, splitting factor. And obviously we'll discuss this later. This is very early on, but if you guys have some serious suggestions, let me know, because I'm all ears. And I, for one, am pretty interested, to see what you guys would prefer, right? So there's my opinion, and then there's what you guys want, and I'm open to both of those. So if you guys want to drop an opinion in the comments, let me know. Just let me know what farm, if we should go with dairy or just keep expanding the arable crop we've got right now, or both. We might even be able to find a mixture of both, but that is not exactly likely. So we will touch on that in another video, but for right now, let's get to cutting some more hay. And this right here is looking like our field. Let's go to the map real quick so I can figure out exactly how I own this plot right here. So it looks like we actually do own every bit of this. Let's zoom in. Yeah, we own all of this. So if we can just get kind of close to that field edge, which I don't know exactly how close we can get, but we can go straight out here. Sorry, this farmland thing is in the way. We can come, I don't know, out here to, I don't know why there's trees on the map right there, but we can come out, we can cut this little section. It's about the same size as that field, so 4 acres total, and I'm more than likely going to get a message saying you don't own this land, but I think that's a-okay. And since there is a decent fence line right here, I'll just leave it right here and cut like this. I don't know if I will go around the opposite way of the field. So, and to be honest, we might only be able to get out to the fence line, so it's really not that big, but it'll give us, 4 or 5 more bales, so I can't complain too much. We need all the hay we can get right now. So let's see. Are we going to be able to mow anything past the fence line? I'm just going to do some troubleshooting real quick. Let's see here. We're actually coming out pretty quick. Yeah, we can go all the way. Alright. Oh, no, we can't. We got really dang close to that edge of the field, though. Okay, so about right in here is our limit, I would say. I don't want to be cutting the neighbor's hay, which, to be honest with you, I highly doubt they will ever cut this part. So, oh, there's another warning. Okay, let's go back this way now. This is not the best, but we'll make it work. Had a lot of "you don't own this land" messages pop up, so it's a very janky shape, but this is what we're left with. So yeah, we'll get this whole field cut, see how many, well, we're gonna have to wait to see how many bales we'll get, but we'll see just how much hay we get off of this. I mean, it looks pretty decent, to be honest with you. It actually looks a tiny bit bigger than that field we just came from, so that's a good thing. So that'll be the first headland pass. We'll go ahead and start the second one now, because on this one we've actually got a longer side of the field, so we can go up and down, turning the mower back and forth. We don't actually just have to go around in a circle anymore. So I think as we finish this field up, I kind of want to do a little time lapse here. I, for one, feel like it's been a while since I've done a mowing time lapse, which may not be entirely true. It's hard to remember back to the videos I make even a week after I post them. So if I just did a mowing time lapse, my bad about that, my apologies, but pretty sure you guys like them. not totally sure, but I for one do. So with all that being said, let's get this field cut in style, and I will catch up with you guys after we get it cut. And depending on what comes next, we might just be back out here tomorrow tedding the hay. So that might be the next thing on the agenda. But yeah, like I said, for now, let's get this field cut, and I'll see you guys then. Just like that, we are about done. So yeah, I cut that field, or I guess this field, and I time-lapsed in this same little piece of grass right here, but I decided to come out of my way just a tiny bit and get all this cut over here. So you can see behind me is where we just got done cutting, and then I was headed back to the farm, but I was like, wait a minute, let's come over here and cut this, because we actually own this little sliver of land over here. So, well, as you can see, that's exactly what we did, and we got another maybe bale or two out of this over here. So altogether, we just cut about 6 acres of hay, which, to be honest with you, was not that much. I mean, it might have been a little more, maybe. Actually, yeah, it was definitely more. It was probably closer to 9 or so acres, maybe. But I would say, job well done. We'll come back out here tomorrow and get it up. Well, not tomorrow, but before August is over, because I checked the forecast, and that little bit of rain that I was talking about, well, it's not just rain. There is a pretty decent sized thunderstorm, like a bunch of cells coming across most of Missouri, and we just happen to be getting most of the rain. So isn't that great? So we're going to have to get all the hay up and do everything and hopefully find a way to get harvest done around all these storms they're predicting, because harvest is coming up soon and it lines up with all this rain we're getting. So I hope that's not the case. If that's true, then we're more than likely going to have a decent wet winter as well, a lot of snow, all that good stuff, because temperatures are expected to plummet in the next week with all the rain. There's going to be like a bunch of fronts coming through, or I guess I should really say a front, bringing in cooler temperatures and all this rain. So yeah, that's something for sure. I don't exactly know how to feel about it. I mean, I'm happy we get all this rain, but oh man, that's a little interesting, if I must say. So I don't know, we'll have to see how it pans out, but right now it's pretty calm and sunny, so I don't know, I'd prefer it to stay that way, but a little rain won't hurt, I guess. So while we're out here, let's also put the skid steer up. I guess I'll swap out the forks and the bell spear. I just want it in the shed. It's been out for a while, so we'll put it back in its rightful spot now that we're kind of done sorting straw bales. at least for now anyway. We'll come back out here and do this all over again in a month's time or so. But for right now, I'm going to call that a day. And I think I'm going to actually end this one right here, you guys. We did a good bit of stuff today, finishing planting the soybeans, sprayed herbicide, got some hay cut. You know, like I said in the intro, just a lot of, whoa, this put me out here. Okay, well that's interesting. Right in the middle of my outro. Can you believe that? That was a little bit rude, wasn't it? But anywho, who am I kidding? We did a lot of chores like I said we would in the intro. We're just kind of keeping busy, working up to the big event, which is harvest. And I'm assuming in the next episode, we'll either jump right into harvest or we'll bale the hay. So who knows? I might do it off camera. I tend to be that way with what I do on the farm. I do some off camera and I do some in the video, and usually what I end up saying at the end of the previous episode never happens in the next one. So I guess just tune in next time to find out, right? That's how it's going to be this time around. But yeah, I think this was a pretty fun one. I had a lot of fun making this one just like all the other episodes. So I'm going to end it with that. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next one.